Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to So Much to Talk About. My name is Nabaté Isles, and it's always a pleasure to share facts and viewpoints on the world of sports, as well as have wonderful guests on the show, guests that really are knowledgeable and guests that have been around the world of sports and society. But before I introduce this gentleman, make sure to go on to my YouTube channel, which is N as in No, S as in Sam, I as in Indigo, NSI World, in which you can see past episodes and interviews from So Much to Talk About. And it's been a pleasure to do the show for many years. And this gentleman that I'm introducing right now is somebody that was a guest on the show, wow, around 10 years ago when he was with rotoworld.com, which is the top website when it comes to fantasy sports. And now he's doing great things. He's out in Los Angeles now, and he's a writer for NFL.com and an on-air personality for NFL Network. He's one of the hosts for NFL Network show Gameday View, and also he's the host for the Around the NFL podcast. This man's one of the best writers in football. It's my pleasure to reunite with this gentleman once again, Mr. Gregg Rosenthal. Thank you, and welcome to SMTA once again, sir. How are you?
It is great to see you, Nabaté. I love it. You got your album in the background with your name on it. That's like a sneaky way of going third person on your own show. But I love it. These, the shows we did some fantasy previews and stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Like
yes.
in the late aughts, I would say. I think more than 10 years ago. People still send me those links. They like, look at you back then. It's like I'm like a time capsule of me and my, I was a young man then. We both were.
Well, yeah. We haven't aged one bit, we haven't aged.
Right.
That's right. But wow, Greg, great to have you on in there. And there's literally and figuratively so much to talk about for sure. Mm-hmm. We have Super Bowl 54 in Tampa, Florida. The first time that the host football team gets to play in the stadium, Raymond James Stadium. That is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by future Hall of Famer and pretty much universally known as the greatest of all time for quarterbacks, Tom Brady. And they play the defending Super Bowl champions in the Kansas City Chiefs, led by a potential GOAT, possibly, in Patrick Mahomes. So there's a lot going on. But there's something, Tony Romo said something very interesting, saying that if Mahomes does not beat Brady this time around, he can never be the GOAT, ever. So what is your take on that comment? And what is Tony, where's he coming from?
I think that's putting too much on one game. I think Tony's trying to hype the game, and he loves football. He gets excited, so it's not like he doesn't believe it. He believes it. But you can't tell me this affects where Brady is if he let's say he plays well and they lose 35-30. I just don't buy that. It's kind of like, I don't look at Tom Brady any different that they lost to Nick Foles in the Eagles. Tom Brady threw for 500 yards in that game. The man was 38 years old and had an MVP. So to me, that's like one of the best games he's ever played. And so I don't put every win and loss just on the quarterback. And I also think that Mahomes, and I've gotten into arguments in my podcast, but is the best player I've ever seen. So you can call a GOAT, whatever, this or that. I'm not saying he's accomplished as much as Tom Brady, but he's the best player I've ever seen. And he's only 25. So the same goes for him too. If the Bucs outscore them, and I do think it'll be a high scoring game, if the Bucs outscore them 35-31, that doesn't make me think any less of Mahomes. It's kind of like when the last time they played in the playoffs, Mahomes put up 28 points or something like that in the fourth quarter, but he didn't get the ball first in overtime. But that was a legendary performance by Mahomes. His defense just, didn't come through for him. So I think that's putting a little too much on this one game, but these are two of the greatest. That there's no doubt about that. I can put Mahomes in that class already. I don't care.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Greg, like with Mahomes, at Texas Tech, he had the raw ability, had the talent and everything, but how did he mature so fast? And if he was this good, why wasn't he the first pick overall? Why was he taken over Trubisky?
Well, a lot, I had people back then saying that was crazy, especially that they took Trubisky over Watson. But even that Mahomes was the man. If he gets with the right coach, this guy, the ceiling, there is no ceiling, and he got the right coach. So I think that's number one, is that he ended up with Andy Reid, kind of the same way Tom Brady, pick number 199, ended up with Bill Belichick. But I just think people develop at different different rates. And you get to a point where football is your job and you're doing it all day long. It's a little different than college. And the physical talent was always there. And I think what people didn't understand, and this is so true of so many quarterback misses in the draft, was the mental aspect. It's kind of hard to evaluate, you know. I think that's probably something that I don't think Trubisky would ever be in their class, but I think the mental aspect, the feel for the game and the intelligence is probably a big reason why Watson and Mahomes are another level. So you put together that intelligence with the physical gifts, which are just, I've never seen a quarterback that can throw it like he can, and a Hall of Fame coach. That's how you get it all. It's a team game. You need a few things to come together.
No, absolutely. And here with the great Gregg Rosenthal, one of the best writers in the National Football League. He writes for NFL.com and also on-air personality on the NFL Network, host of Gameday View, as well as host of the Around the NFL podcast. So you can check that podcast.
It's a mouthful. You don't have to say it every time. You don't have to say all that every time.
Oh, no, I got to let the audience know, to check you out and check out your knowledge as they hear right now. So, but Deshaun Watson, we're going to talk about him in a little bit, but Deshaun is very interesting. He has such a decorated career in Clemson, and it's funny how he still fell. It's kind of weird, you know what I mean? Like, for sure, but he's turned out to be a great player. But a couple more questions about the Super Bowl. What's the matchup to look out for? Is it is it Tampa Bay's defensive line, their front seven against the battered Kansas City offensive line? Is it the secondary of the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay receivers? Like, what's the matchup we need to look for?
Yeah, I think you hit on it with the defensive line and the Bucs. And I think this is the key for both teams, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of stops. I just don't. Mahomes has been stopped once this whole playoffs. 16 drives.
One punt.
And that came on one of his best throws, which was a 40-yard throw down the field to Tyreek Hill on the first drive of the AFC Championship that Hill dropped. And I just look at which playmakers can make one or two game-changing plays: turnover, forced fumble, a 20-yard sack like the Chiefs did to Josh Allen a couple of times. And I see more of those guys on the Bucs defense. And that's the thing. So I think Devin White could be the guy, but I especially look at Shaq Barrett and JPP up front, coming off two really good games. It's kind of been slept on. They didn't have that great of a season. JPP had a good season, but Shaq Barrett nowhere near where he was a year ago.
Right.
But they've both played. I've watched the coach's statement. They both played fantastic in both of these playoff games against a much better Saints offensive line. And then a so-so Packers offensive line. And now you're playing two backup tackles, maybe a bad Chiefs offensive line. So the Chiefs are so good at scheming around that, getting the ball out of Mahomes' hands quick. But I do think if you're the Chiefs, you want to have the ability to sometimes be able to drop back and have some time and go down the field. And I don't know if they're going to have that time. And I think Barrett, especially Shaq Barrett, but also JPP, the great, former Giant.
That's right.
Could make
Super
those
Bowl
games
champ.
And was dominant that year in 2011. Love that guy. And I think they could be the ones to make those plays. Mahomes is a tough guy to take down. He avoids mistakes usually, but sometimes he gets a little too confident in his arm or ability to make a play. And that's it. I'm not saying you stop him, but you make two turnovers, set up some short fields. I think that's the route to do it.
Wow. And now this game, like you said, it could be back and forth. This has the potential to be the most prolific Super Bowl when it comes to action ever. Which Super Bowl, like, you're a historian of the game, which Super Bowl stands out, the game that you would watch over and over and over again? Like right now, like after the interview, you put in the DVD or something.
Well, it's not that JPP Super Bowl. I'm a Patriots fan. So.
No.
Number one, I think underrated Super Bowl of all time. I'm going to pick one I went to. I've gone to them all since the 08 Patriots Giants one, or 07 season Patriots Giants one, was Saints Colts. And I know it didn't have the like last second ending. And number two would be Patriots Seahawks. I mean, that's just an unbelievable game. But man, Saints Colts, those were the two best teams in the NFL that year by far. I thought they were just dominant. two quarterbacks going to the Hall of Fame at the absolute height of their powers. And a surprise ending with Tracy Porter just ending that thing. And I know that was about, with a little under 5 minutes to go, but I'm telling you, if you go back and watch that game, the 55 minutes leading up to that was incredible play after incredible play. Two teams balling out, playing their best. You had no idea what was going to happen. And I got a lot of love for the city of New Orleans too. So I'm a little biased there, but I really do think that was just an incredible game. And I have watched it over the years. Man, you forget who made some great plays in that game. Reggie Wayne and Lance Moore made a couple great, but Jeremy Shockey scored a game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. People don't remember that. How about that for the New Orleans Saints? And the Colts played great too until that play, basically.
Wow. Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's for sure. And Peyton, and it was funny because Peyton was going for his second title at that time. That would have really helped his legacy, especially in his prime, even though he did win a second one with Denver, but he was more a game manager, which, because, I've always said, listen, Peyton Manning carried teams for the past 17 years. There's nothing wrong with his 18th season being carried,
Right. Yeah,
sure, because Denver, since he's left, forget it. You know what I mean? So with the quarterback position, but now Gregg, Deshaun Watson, his situation's crazy. Is there any way for this to be rectified between the Texans and Watson? And if no, where's the best place for him?
Wow. I do think the Texans need to exhaust every chance to try to rectify it, as you said. And I think they are in their clumsy way. They kept their offensive coordinator, Tim Lewis. And I think that was definitely a move designed to appease Deshaun Watson because he gets along well. I don't think it's going to matter. I think the agent for Watson and Watson seem pretty steadfast that they're going to hold the line. Same guy who represented Jalen Ramsey and was very steadfast in getting out of Jacksonville. But I don't care. Like, there's not enough picks that would make it worth it for me if I'm the Texans. I would wait it out. I really would. I just think you're going to you break a trust with your fans, first of all. You're never going to find another Deshaun Watson. And I wouldn't trust the number 2 pick if that's from the Jets, or the number 3 pick from the Dolphins, or Tua Tagovailoa. Or the only thing that actually I would do it for is Dak Prescott in a pick. But I don't think the Cowboys and the Texans would ever get along enough. They're kind of rivals, and I don't think they would ever trade Deshaun to the Cowboys. But that'd be the only way I do it. Is if I get back a top 10 quarterback, I'll start thinking about it. But those guys aren't available, except for unless you could somehow convince Dak Prescott, and that somehow worked. It's not the craziest notion in the world, but other than that, I'm saying hold the line and don't do it. But to answer the second part, I think the Panthers are the team that might be the most aggressive. I think they want to get him out of the AFC. And I think the Panthers might just give him, that number 7 or 8 pick and about 5 other first round picks. I don't think they care. They would just give it all up because they know it's worth it. And maybe that's the team that gets it done. I don't think they want Deshaun Watson in the AFC because they're playing scared.
Yeah. What about San Fran? San Fran has a shot.
I think San Fran would be the best case scenario for Deshaun Watson. And he has some say because he has a no trade clause. And Kyle Shanahan has talked about in the past that there's nothing you can give up that is too much for a quarterback like that. So, oh my gosh, you put him on that team. They're the NFC favorites. And he's going to have just a outrageous career with Kyle Shanahan and him being locked together.
Now we're in a situation where David Culley was hired for the Houston Texans job and everything, but we're seeing a disturbance trend of lack of minority coaches, head coaches and front office executives, especially. But what is your take, especially with what's going on with Eric Bieniemy and how he did not get hired for any of the 7 available head coaching slots? I mean, that is really strange. Like, just in general, what is the NFL? What do you think the NFL could do more of? Because they're offering picks, they're offering compensation, but it seems like teams like, what would you do if you were the commissioner? What else would you do?
Man. I'd call out these owners. It's the owners. I don't know what the league can do. Now, I also don't want to give the league too much credit and say that they're like heroes for setting up,
Right.
the Rooney Rule and everything.
Mhm.
But on some level, I don't know what else they can do. I think it comes down to the sort of racism that happens in every business that doesn't think they're being racist, which is, I think these owners hire guys they want to go have a beer with. I really think that's a lot of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, okay, Rick Spielman was kind of in charge of the Lions hunt, we think. Okay, he likes like a big tough football guy. He goes and gets Dan Campbell,
Or he could have got Anthony Lynn. You dig? He's a big, tough football guy.
Right, and they did get him. I mean, Dan Campbell brought him in as the offensive coordinator. Campbell actually deserves credit. He has, both his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator are black, and he brought in his Deuce Staley's in there too. So, Campbell deserves some credit. But I think you look at the Eagles, you look at the Chargers. These are these analytic-minded teams, and you got white guys hiring them, and I think that's part of it, because there's no reason Bieniemy shouldn't have a job. When Brad Childress was, Reed's coordinator, gets a job. Matt Nagy's coordinator gets a job. Doug Peterson's his coordinator gets a job. I mean, they all did it. They all got the job. They all get the chance. And so I think it's not that I think they have malice in their hearts when they're going through these interviews, but it's crazy, especially if you look at the Eagles staff. Now, that said, you mentioned the general managers. I think 3 black general managers were hired. So that's good. Terry Fontenot in Atlanta, Brad Holmes in Detroit, who ended up being paired up with Dan Campbell. Robert Saleh in New York is the first Muslim coach, which I think people don't even know that. I didn't even know that until about 3 days ago. I was like, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew he had a Lebanon descent, but it's like that's good too. That's diverse. But ultimately, I think about this a lot as a guy who's on a show of like white guys talking about a predominantly black league. Like, I think you have to look at that when you're an owner and think, look at the track record too of the black coaches. Very successful on balance. This is an advantage. This is going to be an advantage. You look at what Bruce Arians has done in Tampa with an all black coordinators. And so I think it'll get there, but I don't know. I'm kind of stunned at how little progress there's been.
Yeah, especially with Bieniemy, and not just with him being our offensive coordinator, and he's calling.
But it can't just be him either. That's the thing. It's like he is brought up as the example, but it's like the fact that he's the only example, then it can't just be him, because there is a possibility. There's a reason beyond what we know that maybe him in particular will be a good coach or not. I don't know, but he can't be the only guy. You know what I mean? Like,
but
there
being
needs
the best
to be
in his field, though. That's what I meant.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
The pipeline and the coordinators and everything like that also needs to change.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, Greg, that's deep what you're saying. And yeah, like, it's just, it's a process, and, just people have to keep talking about it, bringing it up, and it has, you have to yell it out for sure, absolutely.
I don't know though, man. Yeah, this time around, it really, it's also unfortunate that like David Culley gets that job. Like, that's because partly because no one wanted that job. So that's the job that the black coach got, was the one that no one wanted. The worst situation. And I don't know what there's really you can do to make owners do certain things.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. And Greg wanted to ask you about the Hall of Fame. The class of 2021 will be announced during Super Bowl weekend. Ooh. For sure. Woo. So, I mean, okay. Now I'm going to name a name.
Yeah, give me some names, because I'm not totally prepped on what my ballot would be exactly.
Okay. So you vote. Okay, you voted. Awesome.
No. Oh, no. I'm not a voter. Okay. They voted already. I wish I was a voter. Then I'd be prepped. They don't let me. I wish I could. That'd be great.
Okay, yeah. Let me know if they should be in or not.
And only 5 people could get in, but yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Jared Allen. What do you think?
That's one where I want to wait and see, but I'm guessing no right now.
Okay, Rondé Barber.
Again, I want to wait and see, but I'm saying no.
Okay, Tony Boselli.
He is someone over the years that I do believe is in. I mean, should get in. I'm really all about guys who dominated.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have a guy that dominated for 6 years than a guy who compiled. And so, I'd have to look at everything. But Baselli, to me, should get in, and he's waited a while. So I'm going to say yes on Baselli.
Okay, cool. So far, Tony Baselli. Okay, Leroy Butler, my guy. Shout out to Leroy Butler. He's a guest on my podcast, Where They At. So
I wish I could study it more. People really swear by him, but I don't know enough. I'm saying no.
Oh, okay. He's the only. It's so funny. He's the only person in the all-decade team of the 90s not to be in the first team, not to be in the Hall of Fame. That's crazy,
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes those all-decade things are funny because guys whose peak is like 95 to 05, like then they don't get in either. But that it is a good barometer, especially when you're comparing him to Steve Atwater. People I trust really believe that he would have been a better choice than Atwater and definitely than John Lynch. So I think if I'm ranking those guys, I'd probably put Leroy Butler based on what I know first out of those three. But I'm still going to say no for now.
Okay. All right.
Because I think we got some big names coming up. We got some other guys I like.
That's right. Alan Faneca.
No, I'm saying no right now.
Okay. So Baselli so far. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Torrey Holt.
Because he's a passion project of mine, I'm gonna say yes. I couldn't believe Isaac Bruce got into the Hall of Fame ahead of Torrey Holt. Wait, is Isaac Bruce in the Hall of Fame? I'm right?
Yeah, he is. This 2020 class.
It's crazy. This is what I'm talking about: compiling versus dominating. Torrey Holt's the 5 or 6 year run he had. There's no one in the NFL that would have said, "Oh, I'm worried more about Isaac Bruce than Torrey Holt." What? I mean, Torrey Holt they were on the same team. We have proof that Torrey Holt was a better player. So because of that, I'm going to be the one to try to push him in. I'm saying yes.
Okay, cool. So you got so far.
I'm going on too long. long.
Oh no, that's all right. No, that's all good. No, because like I said, you're a historian, so we got to get that knowledge for sure.
Well, it's tough. You're gonna give me all these names. I don't want to put too many people in, but okay, that's 2 guys in right now.
2 guys. Yep. Calvin Johnson.
Yes. See, that's the one.
Yeah,
I don't want to wait around. I don't like and I get it. Like if you want to make the case that you love Leroy Butler and Megatron didn't make your list this year, I'm not gonna like kill people for that. Like if he somehow didn't get in off his first ballot. But to me, if I was a voter, I'd just go 5 best in that year. Don't worry about whether first year eligible or not. And then Megatron would be on that list for me.
That's right. And you said having greatness for a period of time more than a compiler. And Megatron wasn't a compiler.
He was both. He was both. I mean, he was both. He did it long. I know he didn't play till he was 35, but considering every year he played, he was greatness. Then he put up like 10 years of greatness. That's more. I mean, he's a no-brainer. He's the first no-brainer of all these guys that you put up.
Yes, sir. So Baselli, Holt, and Calvin Johnson. All right, here we go. John Lynch.
No. To me, I don't think he should be in this finalist.
Yeah. I was thinking that too. I was thinking
personal, but I think the fact that he's well liked and he had a great broadcast career and he's a great guy and he's a good GM. Sometimes those guys get a little, just like a almost unconscious bias thing. He's not at that level for me. No.
All right, now of course, this name I think it's definite. Someone by the name of Mr. Peyton Manning.
Right. You know? See, I knew he was coming. I knew Megatron was coming. I had to keep spots for them, so he's in. All right. See, I only got 1 spot left. I might have to bump Holt out at some point here.
Okay. All right. No worries. Now Clay Matthews.
No, I know. There's a lot of people that are pushing, and it is interesting he got into the final 15 this year, so I think he has a real chance to get in, but I would say no.
Yeah, Clay Matthews is the second for people to know, not right. Clay Matthews third. Yeah. Sam Mills, rest in soul, rest in peace to him.
He's a finalist? I did not know that.
Yeah.
See, I would do a lot more studying on this stuff for real.
No,
so
that's
I'm just
right.
being honest. If I was a voter, so I don't feel like I have the background to even say so, but I'm gonna say no.
Okay, Richard Seymour from your Pats.
I'm saying yes. So I knew he was coming too, so I was trying to hold the spot for him. To me, he's clear. He's an easy one for me. He was the best player on multiple Super Bowl winning defenses, dominant defenses. I think if you asked Bill Belichick, who was the most important player on all those defenses, it was not just obviously Richard Seymour. I mean, it was obviously Richard Seymour.
Mhm.
And so he doesn't pile up the stats, but I think people that watch the game and know what he meant, man, he was the best of what he did. That interior lineman that can stop the run, who can get pressure and take up 2 blockers. He made it all happen for those guys. Like, you wouldn't know who Teddy Bruschi and Mike Rabel were, I don't think, if it wasn't Seymour. Ty Law got in. I would have, I love Ty Law and I think he deserved it. But if I'm ranking those 2 guys, it's still Seymour ahead of Law.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of time for Seymour. Maybe it's not this year, but to me, he's definitely a Hall of Famer.
No doubt. 3 more names.
Okay.
Zach Thomas.
No, I don't think he should be on this 15. That annoys me a little bit.
Dude, not because he's a Dolphin, right? Former Dolphin.
No, I just don't think he was at that level. And if you talk to coaches and people in the league, I don't think he was at that level. Great player, obviously, but not that level.
Yeah, no doubt. Hall of very good. Not
right.
Great.
Like Jason Taylor, people were surprised got into Cook. I'm like, I'm not that surprised. That guy was amazing.
Yeah.
Zach Thomas, I don't think is there.
Wow. And 2 more names. Reggie Wayne.
Man, I think I work with him. I mean, I've never even met him, but does he work at NFL Network still? He did. I feel like I haven't seen him for a while. So I feel bad. Him and Holt are an interesting comparison, but I actually would go Holt over Reggie Wayne, so I'm saying no.
That's right. Okay, no doubt. And last but not least, Charles Woodson.
See, this is where I got myself into trouble. I got to knock Torrey Holt out as much as
okay.
I really like Torrey Holt and want him to get in and would push in some years. I think going by just the best 5 players available of all the guys you listed, Woodson would knock him out. And so Baselli still stays in. But otherwise I go Megatron, Woodson, Peyton Manning, and
Richard Seymour.
In there. Richard Seymour, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's a good list. And also too, I think Holt and Wayne, they kind of knock each other out. You know what I mean? That
maybe, that's the thing. I have a feeling Holt's behind Wayne in the voters' eyes. I'm glad you asked. So no one else asked me about this stuff. We don't even talk about it on our podcast. We're like, we should have talked Hall of Fame.
No doubt. And got 2 more questions for you, Greg.
Okay.
Last 2021 teams that the way they ended their season and the situation they have going into the offseason with cap room, everything like that. Which team? Because in the NFL, there's always a team that surprises making the playoffs and stuff like that. That always ceases to surprise people. But which team can that surprise team be in 2021? Which team do you see based on how they ended the season? And
okay, so like they're out of the playoffs now and they're gonna rise up a little.
Yeah.
The Patriots certainly have an opportunity if they can find a quarterback because they have so much cap space and they're well coached. They're not talented at all. It's amazing they won 7 games. I think they're in the Belichick, the GM, has really let down Belichick, the coach, in recent years.
Yeah, but they lost 8 players to the COVID.
Right, but they just that it hurt. So I think the Panthers in the NFC would be my pick, and then the 49ers don't really count because of the pedigree they have. I would say either the Jaguars or the Broncos in the AFC. I don't think the Jaguars' talent is as bad as people think. You get Trevor Lawrence. We'll see if Urban Meyer's great or not. I don't know about that one, but I don't think they're as far away as people think. And then the Broncos, if they can get a quarterback, they have some really good talent. I like Vic Fangio and the way he coaches his defense. Man, if they could get Matthew Stafford, they are that team. And if the Panthers, who I know are all about Deshaun Watson, get Deshaun Watson, I mean, forget about it.
Oh, yep, for sure, no doubt. Wow, and how are you and your family doing with this pandemic? Because you're in LA right now. Oh God, like what? How are you hanging in there?
We've been okay. I have a 6 and a 9-year-old, and we're going to the park. It's kind of been Groundhog Day. It's felt like we're in a similar place since October. We've been pretty locked. We've been very safe the whole time. It kills me that they can't go to school for an entire school year. But we've been good. We're healthy, and I got my job I can do at home. That's a blessing. I've been doing it out of my bedroom all year, and that's
Yes.
great. I mean, there aren't some jobs you can't, and so that's been great. I haven't been to work since March, so.
Wow.
So we're doing okay. I appreciate it. How is it there in New York? Like early pandemic days, my wife misses New York, and I finally was like, see, you don't want to be in New York right now. But that came back around on us that year, so it didn't really hold up. Didn't really hold up.
Yeah, it's been up and down, overall and stuff, but it's good, and we'll see what happens with this vaccine, new variants, all that stuff. But I want to have to please tell the audience, do you have anything coming up? Any maybe books, projects, anything coming up?
Look at
that
you. Well, you want me to write a book in the middle of a pandemic?
But hey, man, I know you can do. You got topics. I'm sure you have ideas.
I do. I feel like I'm tapped out right now of time and energy. But no, we'll be at around the NFL podcast. That's kind of my bread and butter, and we'll be doing all our normal Super Bowl coverage and shows. We won't be there for the first time in 8 years as a podcast, but we're still gonna have great guests and do the whole thing, and on we go into the off season. That's the fun thing about podcasts; they never stop. So
that's right.
We'll keep rolling.
That's right. It's a blessing with Zoom. You know what I mean? With the Where They At podcast, that Zoom is beautiful. Just right there, you have it. But wow, Mr. Gregg Rosenthal, pleasure to have you on. So much to talk about once again. Great to reconnect, reunite, and
I know.
It was awesome to have you on.
I got to check out that Nabaté album drop.
Yes.
When did that come out? I
gotta
check that out.
Yeah, right. Eclectic Excursions. Yeah, it's been out a couple of years. It's been nice. Yeah, Eclectic Excursions. I think you like it. It's a mix of everything, all different styles,
All right. It's good to see you, Nabaté.
Pleasure. And thank you all for watching So Much to Talk About. Have a wonderful night. God bless. Be safe. Stay woke. Treat each other with kindness and respect. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.